happening, my friends out there in YouTube land? Thank you for tuning in. Rockin' Dave, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. We already got people Merry Christmas, R2R3 Locking Nut, Jim Gidry. Hey, thank you for tuning in. We got Chris's Acoustic Covers. Hey, thank you so much, guys. Janice Lala, thank you so much. Want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. We'll do a little hangout here for a little while. Let's see. Title scope 157. If you don't mind me calling you just 157, because the reason being the type on my phone is like extremely tiny. We got the Coombs. Merry Christmas, my friends. Merry Christmas. Give you one of those rock and roll, you know. Let's say that Michael B. Hey, Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm a little bit under the weather. Not only do I have a cold, but I'm right now I'm doing nothing but water and chicken broth because uh, tomorrow, Christmas Eve, I have to go to the doctor, and I have to do this every 3 years, guys, and get checked for colon cancer. And the reason being, my sister passed away from it, and every 3 years I have to go. And the last two times they found polyps, but they've been benign or non-cancerous. But the doctor said it doesn't mean that you cannot get it. It's if you let it go and it spreads, and you won't even know it. And when my sister had it, by the time she found out she had it, she was already in stage 4. So it's not a pleasant subject to talk about, but it is a fact. Jeff Underwood, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll do some research on the frankincense oil, and I'll talk with my doctor. But even after I talk to my doctor, I'm gonna still do research on that because I'm sure all of you know this. Excuse me. You can mention something to a doctor, and I'm not trying to knock their credibility, but they might say no, that won't work. And in reality, a lot of home remedies have worked in the past. But you see, if everything's for free, how can anybody make money? You know, and I hate to say it. Excuse me, I hate to say it like that. But there are facts in life. Excuse me, guys. There are facts in life. You know, and that's just how it is. But anyways, we do want to keep still things positive. It's 4 o'clock. I have to drink all that stuff. If anyone's been there, you know that. You know what that's like. But so I get asked about this guitar a lot. It is a neck through series. Oh, thank you, R2R3. Yeah, we hope everything's gonna go great. We hope it goes great with everybody. You know, honestly. Uh, Jim Guidry, it was great talking to you too, my friend, last night. And I talked with Joe Winch from the Joe Winch Project. Great guys. It was last week. So if you guys have not subscribed to each other's channels, please do so. You know, on my channel, I always encourage people to go ahead and do that because you know it really is all about networking and keeping the guitar alive and you know being positive. You know, if there's certain subjects that get brought up and certain matters, you know, with the industry and things of that nature, it might appear to be that it's negative, but it really isn't. It's just meant for people to kind of be aware that these things happen so they don't get themselves in a financial situation because there's nothing worse than that. So, hey, how's it going? Let's see, we have has 36 solo. Thank you for tuning in, my friend. I really appreciate it. So, I like to call this I call this, what can I say? How can I call this? You know, it looks like Paul Reed Smith, right? PRS. Maybe I could call this GES, standing for, I'll show the headstock. It is Epiphone, but it is Gibson. And the research I've done on this is a USA made guitar, 1988, 1987. Zach Thong, thank you for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you. And, well, the S, or I guess, you know, GES, you know, Gibson Epiphone, but the S would stand for Spotlight because this was called the Spotlight guitar. And it came out in 1987 and only ran 1 year. This is the 1988 model. The model I was going to buy back in 88 was a all black finish. And then I took my money and transferred it to a GK 250 ML amp. Um, but then after that, I never seen this guitar anywhere. And in 1989, I was at the NAMM show in Chicago at McCormick Place. And I was in the Gibson booth. I didn't see any of these guitars. and Epiphone just launched their Les Paul models. So it was kind of weird, but I didn't really think of it because you're just bombarded by you're at NAMM, and actually I happened to be playing in the Gibson booth through a friend of mine because he plays keyboards but he doesn't play guitar, and Gibson had launched a guitar synthesizer, so I was actually demoing the guitar synth, and that's another story for another time. But so I guess apparently Paul Reed Smith sued Gibson because of its shape, and it does look a lot like a Paul Reed Smith. 24 frets. These pickups are called hammer rail pickups, and I thought they were Bill Lawrence pickups because back in the day I remember seeing the Bill Lawrence pickups with these real thin rails, but it's not. I don't remember seeing these real thick pole pieces, but if you could see that, look how thick those pole pieces are. And it's kind of weird that the rails would be under the bass strings and not the treble strings, because most likely you're going to bend your treble strings. But I guess the concept is to to balance out the tone, make the bass strings a little bit thinner and give a little beef to the treble strings. Now this guitar does have a coil tap. It has one volume, one tone, three-way toggle switch, and when it pulls the volume, you can hear the coil tap. I'll put it back on full humbucker. Now I'm playing both the neck and bridge. Now I'm going to pull the coil tap. You can really hear the out of phase sound. Now I'm on full neck pickup. Now I'm going to pull. So yeah, you get that, little bit of coil tap out of phase sound. So, I'm gonna be going throughout the year here, um, probably as long as I'm on YouTube, and I hope that's gonna be for a very long time. I'll still do my shredding Saturdays and that, but I'm gonna alter some of the Sundays for just like the jazz fusion, and to turn the volume up on the loop pedal here. And that track right here, I'll just go ahead and play the track here. Okay. This track, that track was 100% made up right from the Digitech RP360 XP, going right into the stereo Jamman pedal, looping pedal, and it's amazing what you could do with this, because when you're in situations that you're live, and if you're a soloist, you gotta do live looping. This works great. Mainly, you get some great time. You get some great minutes out of the looper. Because you could do optional SD card, or you don't need the SD card, but I mean, you'll be able to loop for hours, man. It's just unreal. But the octave divider on the Digitech, it's got a real strong bass. If I crank it a little bit, here we go. Yeah. Yeah. So it's very strong, and especially when you run through the house system, it works great. Now, with all the modeling amps and all that stuff out there, this really works best when you plug into the PA system. It'll work great through a guitar amp, but tend to sound a little bit thin. So I understand what people will say about, oh, that thing is no good and it's still a bit trebly. Well, yeah, you just have to EQ everything, and if it's still trebly for your ears, then yeah, don't worry about it. But its high point is when you come out of the mixer section, out of the pedal. When you got to switch, you could go from amplifier to mixer, and then what it does when you use distortion or any type of an overdrive, it just smooths it out. An example: I'm plugged into the Roland BA330 which is a powered PA speaker. So it's not a guitar amp. So you can see it kind of does smooth out. I'll show you without it smoothed out. It's still plugged into the PA speaker. Now I just turned it for guitar. It's very fuzzy, almost nasty sounding. Now if I go back to mixer setting, that's basically all it's doing, but it works great. So okay, so I want to also give some shout outs to people, like Jim Guidry, Joe Winch, R2R3 Locking Nut, Mr. BHBR, Mr. Bruce, I call him. Ed Dana, I haven't seen Ed in a while. I hope he's doing all right. Janice Lala. After I recover from the procedure, then I'll be able to, put some stuff to you guys, because I've been wanting to do that. It's just that, especially right now. I'm running on very low energy. It's an amazing. You go around and you smell food you want to eat, but you can't, And then we got Suave Trainwreck, which I was watching this video earlier about Relic guitars. And, some of them are alright, I saw the LTD model, George Lynch model guitar. I thought it was cool. But I went and I grabbed the Ibanez because it was more comfortable for me. But I'm not really, it doesn't matter. The appearance, yeah. That's going to draw you in. The appearance and then the feel of the guitar, then when you plug it in, But as far as which is better, it's really which one you like, Now, with the friendly guitar challenges, I'm glad to see more and more people are putting videos up, because I'm not eating food, I'm chewing gum, by the way, if you see my mouth moving. I gotta get something, some sort of flavor. Doing covers, when I'm with RUI, we do a lot of covers. I'll try to spotlight other YouTubers out there if I can, because I notice sometimes I'm in these situations, in these bars, these clubs, where it's like a lot of older people, they don't want to hear any rock or metal, so it's like, okay, now I'm kind of stuck. But other than that, I do like to spot everyone's music out there, because I really think that everyone needs to hear new music, and I've had a lot of good feedback in the clubs when I was doing that, and I'm going to continue to do that. So that, and with the covers, but there's a lot of people doing covers out there, and I'm glad that they do their own versions of covers. Yeah, Suave is cool. Yeah, no, that's great, Janice. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about helping each person's channel grow, and then really sharing what everyone's got, because there's a lot of great advice out there, and that's how you grow. That is exactly how you're going to grow. When I started playing guitar, I was self-taught, except grade school lessons, and I just learned from everybody, and that's really the best thing to do, is learn from everybody, and then see what works for you, and boom, you're good to go. It just takes time. Everything's going to grow with you. Everything will grow with you. But what I do like about the friendly challenges is it reminds me of the jam sessions we used to do back in the day. And you play a bunch against, some chord progressions. And then, other than with the covers, which I'm going to start doing some with the covers, where I'll play the solo rhythm. And then, instead of everyone out there doing the guitar solo, just I get these notifications. Sorry if you see my finger coming at you. I get a notification. I gotta watch later. YouTube, they change things without telling people, and all of a sudden, this person's gone, that person's gone. I think it was EJ or GTV Guitars. All of a sudden, he unsubscribed to everybody, and he didn't do it intentionally. It's just the way, YouTube, you update a platform, and everything gets erased. It's like, what's going on, So, anyways, let me get back on track, because it's real easy to get off track, guys. So it's nice to, well, okay, with the covers, put up a popular song and just play the solo rhythm, and then instead of you playing the actual guitar solo that's with the song, what could you make up for that? You know what I mean? So let's say, okay, here's a good kind of a good rhythm, which I'll do later. So, I mean, we all know that's the rhythm to Crazy Train. They've got to run. Hope you and everyone. Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we'll definitely. I'll keep everyone posted on the procedure at the doctor. Hopefully it's all good. It is what it is, right? And for anyone else going through any type of family that's ill, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Definitely they're definitely with you. But yeah, so with covers, I like seeing when people do a solo and they kind of improvise around the solo, put what they put to it. So this goes back to what I was saying about the friendly guitar challenges, and what's nice about seeing people do all this is that it gives everybody an idea what could you come up with, and kind of like bring some sort of originality out. Because if you notice, there is, and it's not that there's anything wrong with it, but there's so many covers out there, and so many people doing the same covers and they're all doing them great, but it's still a song that, all right, it's locked in, it's set in stone, it's locked in, and nothing wrong with that. But what about coming up with some new music? That used to be the norm back in the day, man. I remember the metal bands we would in, we'd do about 98% covers, the other 2%, I mean 98% originals, and then the other 2% covers. And that was it, because, we were trying to come out with something new. This is who we are. I think when people talk about, since the EVH gear is real popular, what makes Eddie Van Halen so popular, I think when people buy his CDs, his records, it's not because he played You Really Got Me, or see, I'm drawing a brain fart here. Pretty Woman, or Dancing in the Streets. You bought it because you liked his music, and everyone has to pay their dues. We all understand that, but at some point, it is nice to see people just not being afraid to take that chance and just going out there, because here's the reality: you're not gonna please everyone all the time. But if you're happy with what you're doing and you look like you're having fun, I guarantee people they're gonna notice it. I hope that makes sense to everybody out there. I don't mean to ramble on so much. Okay, so I had one of our YouTube friends. I think it might have been Jeff Underwood, maybe somebody else. But anyways, I apologize if I got that wrong. With I get a lot of people complimenting me on the the way I play. Okay, my right hand technique. And it's not just from the soloing; it's also from the rhythms that I play. A lot of it is being heavily influenced by jazz great Al Di Meola, and that whole era of the '70s fusion. My first fusion album I bought was Jeff Beck Wired, and then the Blow by Blow album, and then the Jeff Beck group. So, but hearing instrumental guitar intrigued me more than popular songs, because at the same time, growing up in Chicago, right down the street from all the blues clubs and then the jazz clubs, so everything was mixing together. And then going to some school with a lot of friends that were Hispanic, and then Santana was popular, and I mean everything was just all like, it's like you're standing in the middle and everything is surrounding you. And then my dad would also play motion picture soundtrack, which is classical music. And then hearing classical guitar and flamenco guitar, I think it was hearing Charo play flamenco on the old Merv Griffin show, and that also intrigued me. I didn't see her play because we were kids. We'd have to take naps and go to bed early, you know. But when the TV's on, you would hear all this, and your mind absorbs everything. So that's how I started to develop all this. And then when I heard guys like Al Di Meola do all that, I was like, whoa. And of course, I heard Eddie Van Halen before I heard Di Meola. Um, I heard Eddie Van Halen like 1979, 1980. Van Halen 1. Of course, that was mind blowing. Ed Dana did Freewood Jam and killed, yeah. Yeah, he did. I loved it, man. That was awesome, Jeff. Yeah. But then in the summer of 1981, I heard Di Meola. The two albums I heard was Elegant Gypsy and then Chick Corea's Romantic Warrior, you know, Return to Forever. So what I did was, because I had someone mention about, off of the Romantic Warrior album, there's a piece called Duel of the Jesters and the Tyrant. But that first rhythm, I mean, the whole song is great. And actually, the whole album is just awesome. The track, the title track, Romantic Warrior, you know, when Di Meola starts doing the acoustic solo, you got this. I don't know the exact, but it's right in that realm. That was just really, really cool. And then I think it was No Mystery album. Yeah. You know, some really cool stuff. And the thing is, what I liked about it, it wasn't always pounding in your face, you know, shred, shred, shred. And that was actually the first really shredder that I heard. And that's way before, you know, Yngwie. Yeah, and you got guys like Mike. Oh yeah, Mike Stern. Mike Stern is another great guitarist, man. You know, now he for a long time he's been playing that Yamaha Telecaster type guitar. But he used to play with Miles Davis, and that's when he was using the Fender Telecaster, you know. But he would say what Miles would say, you know, what makes music is the space in between the sound, you know. And that's what I liked about the jazz fusion, as well as, you know, the shred metal, you know. It's just, everything serves a purpose. You know, so you got guys like that. When I first heard Elegant Gypsy, I thought, no way, that's impossible. Yeah, you know what? Exactly. And do you know why, Quentin James? Is because, first of all, Al is not using a very heavy distortion. And second of all, I got my cat here, so he's going to step on something and just change it. He's got real strong alternate picking. I used to know pretty much that whole solo, you know. You know. I gotta get back into all that, you know, because it was very inspiring, you know. But so the rhythm, the first rhythm to Duel of the Jesters, you know, you got this. So what I did through the Digitech, now I'm not using my Trio Plus pedal. Everything's coming right from the RP. I'm trying to move my cat away because, you know, he's just, now he wants to play, right? All right, so anyways, this is, actually I think what the chord progression is A minor 7, B minor 7, and like a D minor 7 to E minor, D major, C major, and B7. I think that's what it is. Okay, so this guy's going to be like, you know, cats and dogs, I love pets, but they come out when you're busy, when, especially cats. Okay, so let's see how this goes. Sorry, guys. That's really without any preparation or anything like that. Going off of memory. But a lot of that stuff was just so cool. And so inspiring, man. Yeah. Oh yeah. Check out Visions of the Eternal Beyond. Yeah, that's another. That's another great. A friend of mine burned me some of these old CDs that I used to have all the record albums. Them, Weather Report. Um, when Alan Holdsworth was with Tony Williams' Lifetime jazz drummer. That was some great stuff there. And when Alan Holdsworth was with the progressive rock band UK, there's a great stuff, man. And the whole thing is that whole era, that type of music was like what I call visionary music. Well, see, here's the thing too. You just think about this, guys. You have the mid '70s. You're coming out of the '60s, and everyone's smoking weed, and everyone's spacing out. But at the same time, that's when music was so creative. And it really meant something to be a musician and to go see a band play. If you watch a lot of these older, concerts, you notice you don't see people with a mosh pit back there. Um, you'll see some excitement, but nothing like, the Ozfest concerts that Deb and I would go to, which is fun. But the point is that people were really intrigued by the musicianship. Now it's popularity, and, we all know what the hell that is. Yeah, with Merry Christmas to everyone. Let's see, anyone mid mind giving their 10 cents on something. Yeah, I knew this was perfect. Well, thank you so much. This really is what me and my friends used to have our jam sessions back in, after I graduated high school in 1980 when I met Andy at Guitar Center, Andy Rios, not Guitar Center, Chicago Music Company. I want to say maybe very early 1981. And we would get together and jam, and he just had such a killer style, man. The reason why he had such a killer style, no one really ever heard of him. He had literally had the 1979 Paul Stanley model, Ibanez Iceman, the Paul Stanley, the original models that were coming out, and I had a '78 Ibanez Artist. But his rhythms, the reason why Andy sounded so different, is that he had these badass rhythms that very percussive, especially on an acoustic guitar. You will definitely, man, it's just The acoustic guitar is a perfect instrument for that. And if you have the ability to shred if you want to, staccato, you have to do it staccato on the acoustic. When you plug it in and you rely on legato, I'm not saying it won't work. It'll work a lot more on a nylon string than on a steel string. But there's nothing like when you got real strong, alternate picking, playing staccato. Every note gets equal value. Uh, so, but that's what made him so different, and that's what I mean. When we had people back then, we'd have our inspirations, but we were not trying. Even though that we had our inspirations, okay. Eddie Van Halen, definitely, with a lot of the two-hand tapping was just totally amazing. The reason why I started getting away from that is when Guitar Center opened up. You go in Guitar Center and everybody was, trying to play Eruption or Half a Teacher, and it was becoming old. And then I started seeing, there's nothing wrong with looking up to people, but when in our day we'd look up to people, but when we buy amplifiers, we'd still mess to get our own tone, not theirs. I guess maybe we were just very individual, you know. Thank you, Jeff. It's really tough, man. Right now, I'm still, I couldn't eat. I can't eat anything at 4 o'clock. I gotta start taking the solution because the body. When you get tired, you get, it's hard to play. But this is good for people whoever had to do tours and traveling. Because I remember when we were doing all our road shows, man, we'd be sleeping in our car, sleeping at the truck stop, the rest area, taking showers in the truck stop, and there's no time to check into a hotel. And then you get to the venue and you're tired, but you still got to play. It's just the way it is. I have a lot of those progressive. Yeah, Janice. They were great. Jean-Luc Ponty, oh my God. Yeah, I had the live album. There's a song, a lot of the songs I don't remember right off bat, but you had the rhythms, because I'd be getting into those. If you listen to what the guitar player is doing in the mix, you'll start to hear all that. But it was so inspiring, man. It was so inspiring. And then then listening to, yep, weed. That's it, man. Yeah, 2 and 3 chords jams. That's what it was, man. People just getting high and like Robin Trower's Bridge of Sighs. You got the. All that stuff. But it's music that really took you somewhere. And isn't that weird? When FM was first coming out, it's like I heard a lot of stuff on AM radio because born in '63 and growing up in that era, and in the late '60s, early '70s, we only had AM radio, and then when FM was coming out, it was kind of like a YouTube if you think about it, because it was music. FM radio was a platform for musicians to show the creative side. And a lot of the pop music of the 60s and 70s was very creative because it was drawing influences from folk, classical guitar, because Segovia was very popular, blues. Blues is incredibly popular. So you had all this going on. And I remember when we'd have album sides, we'd take out cassette tapes. For those who had a stereo, they had the built-in cassette recorder. Grab a cassette tape and get all the first side of Yes's Fragile album or whatever they were playing. And then, of course, later on, we'd go out and buy the albums because that's what we did. We didn't have downloading. We had album sides. Anybody remember Sea Level? You know what? I'll have to look that up, Jeff. I'll have to look that up. Does anybody remember a band? And they weren't really, I guess, not considered anything like virtuoso or anything, but it was just good music. And it kind of inspired me. A band called Barclay James Harvest. A friend of mine gave me a cassette tape, Time Honored Ghost, and it was really cool stuff on here. You know, let's see. Yeah, just quickly stopping by and say, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Mr. Viking. Merry Christmas to you and to all. And you guys have a great new year. But we'll definitely be popping up in the new year as well, before that. Something weird happened with my setup last night. Oh, like what happened, Mr. 157? What happened, man? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to 2 3/4. I'm going to check this out, Sea Level. I probably know it because I go to my friend who was a jazz fusion drummer. I went to high school with Mark Abinetti, and he'd be playing all this stuff, man. And that'd be in the early '80s. Old man Dan, Merry Christmas, my friend. You know what? I love what you do. I haven't really been on YouTube as much because number one, I've been getting busy, and number two, I have to go for this checkup with the doctor to make sure I don't have colon cancer. It's not a pleasant subject to talk about, but every 3 years I got to go for this. That's why I have to always put money aside for the procedure, because it's real hard for musicians to get insurance. You know, but we do what we do. Yeah, 2 and 3 weren't they the album or the Allman Brothers band after they broke up? Ooh, that sounds real interesting. Because the Allman Brothers had some great stuff too. You know, does anybody ever remember George Santana, Carlos's brother, or his cousin or whatever? I think it was his brother though. I think the band was called Malo or Malo. Santana had a lot of fusion albums too. See, people always associate Santana with Oya Como Va or Black Magic Woman or the other song that he had in early 2000. But if you listen to Boboletta or Caravan Ferrari, or the album Oneness, and then he did something with John McLaughlin. Oh, it was some cool stuff, man. They didn't care about being popular with the radio. It was, hey, we got our crowd, and this is what we like to do, and this is what they like. And just stopped making. Oh, let's see what's happening. Oh, your amp just stopped making sound, but everything was working. Okay, do you have do you have a combo of a head and a cabinet? Because see, this happened with my friend. He took two heads. He took the PV Valve King head, and then he had that Dimebag Daryl head. Excuse me. And he ran it into his 412 cabinet, but his 412 cabinet did not have stereo ins. See, my crate cabinet's got stereo ins, and it's got an out to daisy chain other cabinets. So what happened with he unplugged the speaker jack from his first edition Valve King amp. He unplugged it and then plugged it into his Dimebag head. Was playing around with that, and then when you went to plug it back in, his Valve King had no sound. That's because there was no load. I mean, that could be one thing. I think the bass player, one of the drummers, have look it up now. Oh yeah, yeah, 2 3/4. I'm gonna definitely look that up. Oh yeah, Trower was and still is cool. Yeah, I've seen Robin Trower quite a few times in the 2000s, and in 2006 when we were still in Illinois. He played at Lyle Fest in Lyle, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, and Deb and I went there, and I got a cassette tape. I just gotta find it. Well, we actually were talking and interviewing Robin Trower. He's from Birmingham, England, and that's where my mother-in-law is from, Birmingham, England. So we're kind of talking about. He never heard of Lyle, Illinois, but yeah, he's a great guitar player, great person too. Let's see. Until I fiddle with the pickup selector. and it blasted me. Oh, yeah, there's something going on with that. You know, the I'm not gonna say this with all of the Line 6 amps, but one of the Spider amps, this has got to be around 2006. A friend of mine had a 212 combo, and I plugged into it, and it sounded cool. I liked it, but the problem was, you go to mess with the volume, and it would have these weird volume spikes. I mean, you just touch it, and it'd be like when you put it on maybe number one, it would jump up to number 10 or something. It was just really weird. Oh yeah, Traffic. Traffic was a good band. Yeah, and they played the hell out of the band on the run. Oh yeah, they did. Wally in the box. Merry Christmas, my friend. Really appreciate you tuning in. I'm trying to catch up with all the chats here. Hello, Dave. Happy holidays to all. Thank you so much, RGD. RGD Mad One. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you too. Best song out of Limb by Sea Level. Oh, Out on a Limb. I'm gonna check that out. Yeah, Smooth. The Santana song, Smooth. I mean, it's a great song, but see, people do not know. All right, off of the Caravanserai album, there's a song called "Song of the Wind." It's really based off two chords. Now, I'm gonna get as close as possible. I'm just pulling it out of my mind, but to me, it sounds like he's playing C major seven to F major seven. The whole song, just two chords. You know, and got the congas going, and both him and Neil Sean take turns soloing. Some great stuff there, you know. But no one really knows about it. Not no, it's just one unit. Oh, your amp is just one unit. What kind of an amp is it? Excuse me, a Flame Sky. I'll definitely check that out. If it's not a song, if it's a band, definitely. Oh, it's not a combo. Oh, oh, you have the Mustang One. That's odd. It just stopped working. It just stopped making sound, huh? You know, it's interesting when you take amplifiers in a shop. You ever notice very little people, if not anyone, will work on a solid state amp because they're deemed so cheap and inexpensive. Just they're like throwaway amps, you know. But it'd be interesting for someone to say, you know what, I'm gonna take this thing apart and see if I can fix it and see what I could do with it, you know. Because it could be something where, because it's got so much built in. Although the Mustang One is not as heavily stuff built in as the Mustang Three. You know, I mean they sound great, and I do like that convenience, and they're nice and light. You gotta do gig after gig, you get tired, man. A lot of great music out there with only two. Yeah, that's it. Let's see, I'm gonna catch up. Yeah, there's a lot of great music out there with just two or three chords. You know, Flames Guy was two chords. Oh, Santana and McLaughlin. You know what? It's probably off of the. Oh my God, Love Devotion and Surrender album. Yeah, I definitely gotta check that out. Yeah, Blues for Salvador. I have the cassette tape. This is what this guitar kind of reminds me of, because if you take this picture in black and white, it's gonna kind of look like that, you know. Yeah, yeah, good call. You know, how many of you out there, when you hear the term music theory, it just like confuses you, you know? It would confuse the hell out of me, man. Especially when I was younger. Yeah, and a couple of chords. Yep. Let's see. And a couple of one chord songs. Yep. Well, you see, if you think about it, rap music is a beat. You know, it's just a beat. If I put You know, maybe not that fast, you know, but you get the idea. If I slow this down. I mean, maybe it's not a good representation, you know. You know, but there's a lot you can do with it if you're creative. That's the whole thing. If you're creative, there's a lot you can do with this stuff. But you know, for me, what helped me get over all this confusion with formulas and later on, I'm going to be putting out videos from my music theory book that I bought. Because being self-taught, you know, like everyone, you go out and you buy books and you do research, and this is way before YouTube. And what helped me the most is I know every note on this fretboard, every single note where it's located at. And trying to catch up with some chats here. So really, one of the best ways, I used to teach this to my students that would have the same trouble as me. And I was embarrassed to show them there was something I didn't know, because that also gave them a little incentive to say, okay, well, let me see what else you know. It gives them actually inspiration, because they don't feel like there's this fence, you know. There's this guy and there's that guy or that girl. This guy's been playing for like a gazillion years. I'm just starting. I'm intimidated. You know, get rid of all the intimidation. So I used to tell my students to memorize the fretboard. If you think about it, we always, especially with electronic tuners, you know, we're always fiddling up in this area. So we tune up here. Our peripheral vision is going to see this low E string. So if you start taking a reference point here and then moving your way down, now you got a strong reference point. And yeah, it's going to take time, but once it's locked in your memory bank, you'll never be confused. You'll be maybe with formulas. You know, basically kind of go over that too. So if you got two E strings in standard tuning, right? Mama talking to me, trying to tell me how to live. Oh, well, you know, we all get that. Especially growing up, man. We all get that. So you have an open E, and then your high E string. They're going to be the same. So if you got open E, first fret is F, second fret is F sharp or G flat, third fret is G, fourth fret is G sharp or A flat, fifth fret is A, sixth fret is A sharp or B flat, seventh fret is B, eighth fret is C, ninth fret is C sharp or D flat, 10th fret is D, 11th fret is D sharp or E flat, 12th fret is E, 13th fret is F, 14th fret is F sharp or G flat, 15th fret is G. So you see what's happening? Once you get to 12th fret, everything's repeating itself. If you go on your A string, you got basically the same thing. You got A, first fret is A sharp or B flat, second fret is B, third fret is C, fourth fret is C sharp or D flat, fifth fret is D, sixth fret is D sharp or E flat, seventh fret is E, eighth fret is F, ninth fret is F sharp or G flat, 10th fret is G, 11th fret is G sharp or E flat, 12th fret is A, and it starts all over again. Same with your D string. So you see what's happening? All they're doing is going up. That's all they're doing. You got D, D sharp or E flat, E, F, F sharp or G flat, G, G sharp or A flat, A sharp or B flat, B, C, C sharp or D flat, and 12th fret is D. What the hell? I got finished with the other two strings, you know. G, a G string, third string. Open is G. First fret is G sharp or A flat. Second fret is A. Third fret A sharp or B flat. Fourth fret is B. Fifth fret is C. Sixth fret is C sharp or D flat. Seventh fret is D. Eighth fret D sharp or E flat. Ninth fret is E. 10th fret is F, 11th fret F sharp or G flat, 12th fret is G. And same with with the B string. Open is B, first fret is C, second fret is C sharp, D flat, third fret is D, fourth fret D sharp or E flat, fifth fret is E, sixth fret is F, seventh fret F sharp or G flat, eighth back live again. We'll pick it up back. On the B string, fifth fret is E, sixth fret is F, seventh fret F sharp G flat, eighth fret is G, ninth fret G sharp or A flat, 10th fret is A, 11th fret A sharp or B flat, 12th fret is B. And if you know this string, it's the same as that. It's really not complicated. So once you understand the fretboard, oh, thank you so much, 2 and 3 chords. I really appreciate that. Yeah, if you have to leave, I understand. No problem, guys. I take nothing personal. But you see what I mean? In standard tuning, it's all the notes are just repeating themselves. And then when you alter your tuning, you're just relocating the notes. Okay, now, relative keys. Real simple thing. A minor, I'll do this on the 5th fret, its relative major is C major. And what that means is there's no sharps or flats. So, A, B, C for A minor, D, E, F, G, A. No sharps, no flats. C major. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. No sharps or no flats. If one way you can really find this out when you start getting into scales, and I'm going to put this up. I'll put it up in sections, but I don't want to put too much up because I have friends that make a living teaching, and I don't want to put people out of business, But if you try this, here's your D major chord, right? Now, if you don't play the low D string, you're just playing the 3 strings. Okay. See how it's fretted? But you could also fret it like this. See that? I hope you guys can see this. Now watch. Look how close I am to B minor. If I eliminate these 2 fingers and bring this finger down, I'm on this D. So this is a real quick way to see relatives. I mean, not your in-laws or anything. Relative keys. If I take the minor chords, B minor, its relative major, I could say, is D major. If I go to C minor, its relative major is going to be D sharp or E flat major. If I go to D minor, its relative major key is going to be F major. If I go to my E minor chord on the 7th position, its relative major key, look at right there, C major, and so forth. That's kind of a quick way, if that makes sense. Because I had to really decode things when I get together with keyboard players or horn players, and it really wasn't those people. It was the other guitar players, because, guitar players hate each other for some strange reason. I don't know why. Not you guys, but you know what I mean. And especially when they would come out of college, and I understand. They're proud that they graduated and all their hard work and effort. I totally respect that. But never look down on somebody because of their lack of talent or their ability or their knowledge at that point, because it's down the road they might surpass you. And it's not going to look too good, And I've had that happen where I had people looking down when I first started, of course. And then those same people, it was like, and I never do this to say that I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. I just put the effort into it. To me, it's a blessing from God, and that's how I look at it. But I put the time and effort into it. And I was kind of stubborn and bullheaded too, When you got a lot of drive, when someone says you can't do something, you're going to do it just to prove them wrong. When I was younger, But I still respect everybody. I still respect those same people, even if they don't play that much at all. Because, you see, they gave me the fire to get the incentive to give me that push, if that makes sense. So that's why I respect them, Yeah, I play Open G bottleneck. I got 3D. I got 3D and 2G. And now I'm wondering why standard tuning has two strings tuned to E. You know, it's the way it's laid out. Okay, when they say the guitar is tuned in fourths, that means on the fifth fret. I know this is confusing, but it's actually four notes: E, F, G, A. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why you're able to do same concept with the A string. A, B, C, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing with the open D. D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, now the B string is tuned in thirds. Then your B string. You got open G, A, and B. So that when you do that, that's why you go down to the fourth fret. It's just the way it's laid out. And now for the B string, you got B, C, D, and E. That's the reason why. Now if you go over to Europe and some to Asia, the structure is different. Especially old school. Just like when I was in Belgium, and we were doing the show for NATO, and my wife's niece, she happens to work for NATO. That was one reason how we got the gig. She played our CD. One of the guys was walking by, and wow, that sounds nice. Who is that? And Denise said, well, that's my Uncle Dave. Really? Hey, do you think you want to come over and do a show? I could ask him. And boom. But her son, Oliver, was taking classical guitar lessons over there. And I had read this in my soundboard magazines. Over there, here, if you go like by do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, la, ti, do. Over there, it's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. And I believe it's spelled S-I-C. And when I had to do research when I was playing at the Renaissance Fair, and I get these soundboard magazines from Guitar Foundation of America, and I really got into it. It's kind of like self-study, but you have to discipline yourself, and that's the only way you're really gonna get good. Hang out with people that are better than you, but not attitudes, egos. There's no room for an ego. And just surround yourself, and there's nothing wrong with not knowing something now, because I guarantee you apply yourself. You're gonna. I'll tell you what. We get these drop offs. Oh, so why is the B different? Okay, I'm gonna try. Okay, why is the B different? Okay, hi Janice. What makes the B different when you go to tune? When they say G and B is like tuned in thirds. You ever notice when you're on the fifth fret after you get remember the old tuning fork? Bang! I still got mine. And you tune your low E, and you go on the fifth fret, and you do that. Then here you go to the fourth fret. Because this note is B, and what you want to do, you want to tune your B string, and you have an open G, you have A, and you have B. No sharps or flats, and that's why it kind of sets it off. If we didn't have that, I think what would happen is that we would have these weird chord shapes, A lot different than like on a piano or a keyboard, Which I just thought about this. You guys ever see a left-handed piano or left-handed keyboard? I haven't. It's kind of weird. Only guitar. Now, I was teaching one of my students. He asked me, your low E string is really string number 6. Now, it doesn't matter now because everyone... I apologize about this, guys. I don't know. Maybe it's everyone's on YouTube. Anyways, so this is your low E string. That's your high E string. That's string number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The reason why I asked one of my students asked me, Dave, how come the low strings are always on top? Well, I started thinking about this, and I did a little research, and I started noticing in all my soundboard magazines when they would talk about there was an instrument made in the Renaissance period that was kind of like a cello, but it had frets. You could bow it or you could pluck it, but you held it like a cello. And when you go back in that time period, everybody was presumed to be right-handed. So meaning you'd pluck the instrument with your right hand, you'd fret it with your left hand. You ever notice your, upright bass and your cellos are always like this? So I said to my student, I says, I'm wondering if when the guitar was coming out being mid-range, kind of borrowed from the cello family, you took it like this and you went like that, and that's why the low strings are on top. It's just a theory. I could be wrong, you know. But it doesn't mean people that never played the guitar upside down, like Albert King, Coco Montoya, famous blues rock guitarist, Eric Gaines, or Eric Gales, whatever, however he pronounces his last name. You know, it doesn't mean you cannot do that. That's just the way it's laid out. That's all. So yeah, I am left-handed. You know what, Janice? My sister was left-handed, but when she took guitar lessons with me in grade school, she played right-handed. And she was getting good. She was getting real good, but then she just had other interests. You're young. You're just going through the motions, but yeah, she was getting good. So, but yeah, it's not anything mystery. Okay, now let's see what Jeff Underwood says. Yeah. Be careful of the toes you step on going up the ladder. Oh, absolutely, Jeff. Oh my God, you nailing it. It's so true. It is so true. Going up the ladder of success, as they might be connected to the ass you kick on the way. But oh, absolutely, man. Let me tell you something. This industry it's a constant like this. It's constant like this, and it's not going to matter your level of success. Yeah, okay, that's gonna matter. When you get up to those calibers of success and wealth. Okay, it takes a hell of a long time to get there, though, to really say I made it. Where now you can afford that lifestyle. But I've seen so many people coming up and trying to impress other people. The problem that they do is they get that ego, and now they think that they're better than everybody else, and they find out real quick. I'll tell you what, a guy told me this when I was starting to get, this is back in 81, 82, somewhere in that time, when I was starting to really develop my technique. And he said this to me politely. He says, yeah, you got some killer chops there, but come see me 10 to 20 years from now, and we'll talk. He didn't mean anything bad about it. Because you see, 1981, you had the whole shred generation starting to come out, And if anyone remembers that, you go to Guitar Center, and there's the big Marshall stacks. You plug in, and people standing with their arms crossed. Or you play your gigs. The other band members would purposely sit in front of you to watch you. And they'd sit there with their arms crossed, to try to see how tough and bad you are. And if you didn't have the big Marshall, then you're a beginner. No matter how good you are, you're a beginner to them. And I used to go through that a lot. The thing that would always be like my, if you want to call it a secret weapon, when I'd play the flamenco style guitar. And my flamenco is not really deep flamenco. I played with a flamenco dancer before, and she schooled me on true flamenco, and it's definitely different. But when I started doing the flamenco style technique and that, all those guitar players that were badass with the whammy bars, the Kahlers, and the Marshalls, and they started, man, walking away, disappearing because they'd sit there with their girlfriend and they'd try to intimidate people. So you see, never do stuff like that because you don't know who people are or who they'll later on become to be. And even if they don't become successful in music, let's say they open up an HVAC company, high-end HVAC, heating and air conditioning. And then the super dude with all the Marshalls and, the big head and everything that was putting this guy down. He's living in this beautiful home. He's got 3 or 4 AC units and furnaces. That's how big his house is. And the one goes out in his recording studio. He hits a panic button. He happens to call a company, and just so happened the guy comes out that he used to put down. Now the guy that was being put down never forgot it because he was humiliated in front of everybody. The guy that was doing the humiliation, he forgot about it because, people who are like that, that's, they tend to be that way. But boy, oh boy, now he needs that guy's help. and he's hitting the panic button. And he's the type of guy, you give him a screwdriver, he'll ask you, does a twist of lemon come with it? Because he got lucky at a time when you were able to be successful in music. But not everyone, not all of us had that. We had to come up with other ways of doing things. So that's why I always tell people, always have that backup plan, because you never know. This industry is constantly like that. And never put people down, because, when people do that on social media, what they don't realize, it stays up. They could take it down. They could delete it. Let's say off of a chat, they could delete it. But if it gets shared, that's one thing. But even if it doesn't get shared, it's already in that system. So God forbid that same person that was being trolled or whatever, and there's a troller saying bad things about that person, and something happens with that person who was being trolled, not only dies, but they find out he or she was murdered. And they track everything. They're going to track phone records. They're going to track emails. They're going to track everything that's on live chat. They're going to just go through everything. And this is why none of that goes away. That's why people got to be very careful. Or they bash a company. Be very careful, because when a company's got money, that means they can afford a good lawyer if they want to go after you and sue you. Guess what? And Google's going to say, you know what? We got to watch what's going on here, because it's getting out of hand. And I said this to my friend Jim last night. There'd be, and to Joe. I said there would be nothing that we could do if Google decided to shut this guitar platform down, because things are getting out of hand. Because, see, they got to protect their best interest. Like any business, you got to protect yourself. And if it starts getting out of hand, and then, God forbid, something happens, this is when everyone comes flying out of the woodwork. Well, you should have spotted it. All you had to do was watch the live chat, pull the emails, or whatever the case might be. So it's very important that people kind of wise up, Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone can have their opinion, about me. They don't have to like me. They don't have to like what I say or do, and because that's their opinion. Everyone's got that right. But just be careful when people go around on other channels. Did you hear what so-and-so said? Did you know that? Now they're taking a step further. It's childish, That's why I always respect everybody. Oh, I play right-handed. Okay, Janice, that's what my sister Cassie did. She was left-handed, but she played right-handed. And Janice, how is that for you? Does it seem like, okay, you kind of get it? Maybe it's because you've been doing it for so many years. See, people who were born in the 60s, you go to we didn't have a guitar center. You go to a local music store, you might see maybe one left-handed instrument, but the perception was everybody was right-handed. The perception was back then, you can't take this serious, that's evil. That rock and roll music is never going to last. There's an interview with Hartley Peavy. And Hartley, when he worked for his dad's music store, he said his dad told him, no, don't even waste your time with this rock and roll. It's not going to last. It's not going to last. And of course, that's when Peavy was playing in bands and that. And he also had the gift of being a good builder and an engineer and that. So he saw that niche. And that's what I respect about Hartley Peavy, is that he made all his gear affordable for the working class musician. And that's what I mean about being humble. That's a good example of somebody being humble. He did not want to be, big-headed. He'll have high-end gear, but he understands. And, that's just how things are. You sell something at a good selling point, and you'll be able to be in business. People say that's why I can't play leads. No, Janice, no. Here's the thing. Doesn't matter right and left hand coordination. Okay? If you could play a rhythm, let's say you're doing the if you could do that, you could play leads, because there's a lot more going on in chords with chord shapes. For instance, you're doing a D major chord, right? You got that shape. Now you're going to go to a G shape. Now you got that shape. You're going to go to C major. Now you got that shape. So, I don't know. You're actually training your hand to do these weird shapes, whereas a solo or a melody, when I do my bends, I always use my other fingers for leverage. And when I do a bend with my pinky, see, these other hands are for leverage. What would really help is learn how to do melodies. Like if you take song lyrics, and learn melodies. Or you could play that back and just at your convenience, just do that. Because everyone learns the blues box scale. And then they don't know what to do. Then there's someone playing chords up here. I mean, this really kills me, This is a form of a C, like a C9 chord. Because it's easy to come back to D. So you're playing D, you're playing C, you're playing G, right? You're back to D, but then you learn this. It's good for an exercise, and it's good to understand to get your alternate picking, and it does have a purpose. I'm not knocking it. But now, how in the world is that going to help you with? Let's see if I come up with a chord progression. Let's see. I gotta see where well, I'll tell you what. I'll just clear this because I have to clear my loop pedal. And of course, I hit the. Okay, so here we go. Right, D. Now I'm gonna go ahead and try to play the blues box now. That'll work. That'll work. That'll work. We'll try it again. Off of the blues box scale, but I'm gonna try that again. I'm gonna try it from the top. Okay, now I'm gonna show you another way how you can approach this. So I'm playing part of the D major chord. Now, the reason I say that is if you know where your notes are at. Excuse me, guys, I'm gonna do this real quick. If you know where your notes are at, this is what you got. Okay. In your D major chord, you have open D, you have A, you have D, you have F sharp. So when I went this, I got D, I went E, F sharp, G, A, and kind of walked up. Except I didn't hit the B. Okay. So you have D, A, D, F sharp. The C chord, you have C, you have E, you have open G. I'm doing a D, and I'm doing G. And when I do my G major chord, I have G, B, open D, open G, D, and G. So if I wanted to go to my B, It's all notes that's within that chord anyways. I hope this really helps people make sense because, you know, when I had to go through all that stuff with theory and I looked at book, the book went on the shelf and like, why does this have to be so confusing? You know, what it means with those numbers though. Let's take A major or a C major scale. C D E F G A B C. Now I'm gonna count those notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 being the octave. So the ninth naturally would be D. So when they say this is a D9, that note fits because it's the ninth degree of C. It means in degrees, but it still would confuse me. So I need to step it up on that, guys. You know, before I start really getting in. And I'll tell you what. You know who? There's good people out there to watch tutorial videos. Rick Romanelli. He does some great stuff. Back porch theory, I think it is. Cheddar Conparo. He's been putting up some really cool stuff. So has Guitar Hack and Joe Winch. You know, playing in A. And I mean, there's just a whole list of people. And my suggestion is whatever that you understand, then go ahead and listen, you know, take that advice because the reality is you want to make it where it's easy for you to understand because I've said this a lot of times before, when you go out performing, I have yet to go to, well, it's been a while, but anyways, here. Next time Van Halen comes to town with Metallica and Slayer, okay, let's put, you know, everyone's going to rock out, right? Before they do their guitar solo, when everyone's drunk and the music's going and everyone's having a great time, get somebody off stage, you know, offside stage, come out and say, okay, the music's rocking now. Everyone's got their buzz going. Think about this, right? Eddie Van Halen is now going to play a Phrygian dominant with a flatted third minor the ninth. You see? What's going on? Oh, Slayer. Slayers are going to be playing in 2/4 timing. You know, I mean, it's like a killjoy. You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking it because, yeah, they use those. But when you perform live, you're not going to go out and you're going to and give a lecture. You are going to be judged on your performance. So, you know, also learn how to play well and play with as much emotion, and you will do fine. You're not going to please everybody all the time. That just doesn't happen. So, anyways, my friends, I'm gonna have to get going here. I'm glad. I thank everyone for coming and joining. I like Dave. We gotta head out too. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. And Merry Christmas to everyone. My local store was a PV. Oh, nice. I hope there still are a PV dealer. You know, PV does make great stuff. And I will be putting up more tutorial videos and, you know, helping many people. It's how you are taught with the material. Exactly, Janice. Exactly. Dale Palmer, thank you for tuning in. I was thinking of switching from right to left-handed just to see if that's my problem. Hey, you know what? Always remember, if you do that, it's like starting all over again. But if you can nail it, go ahead. And then you can play both ways, you know? Let's see, catch up on everyone's chat. Just joking. I think there is no substitute for, yeah. No, there is no substitute for more practice. You know, you got to learn, but then you have to delegate your time out too. You know, because then when you start neglecting responsibilities, and when your personal life goes down the tubes, it's gonna be really tough. You know, I've seen that happen. Try the D major over that. Yeah, scale definitely because it would definitely work because you know D major. Sound like the progression for can't you see? It does. I know. Yeah, it does. It's a great song and it's a great go to because a lot of it's played in first position, and that's where people seem to have a hard time playing in first position. I'll put up a video on doing blues licks in first position because it's the same as down here. So, Janice, all the left-handed players that played right-handed all have the strongest vibrato. Yeah, if you think about it. Yeah. Hope the test finds you good. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. 157. I do too. And Jeff Underwood will definitely be doing that research on that frankincense. Definitely more. And I think that'll help. I'm just hoping that the polyps are benign and everything. So, Anyways, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys make this so worthwhile, and God bless you all, and have a Merry Christmas. Until next time, we will. Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time, Merry Christmas, my friends, and God bless you. We love you all. Take care now. Merry Christmas.